we are three participants of the Zero Waste Erasmus project here in Poland, and we're from Finland. I'm Reetta, and we also have here.
Hello, I'm Rafael.
And hello, I'm Pia.
And today we're gonna talk about the zero waste. So, what is zero waste?
Yes, so let's define what we mean by zero waste. The concept of zero waste is often misunderstood. Zero waste isn't about producing absolutely no trash, because realistically, that can be quite difficult in our current society. Instead, it is a philosophy and a goal aimed at minimizing the amount of waste we send to landfills and incinerators. The idea is to design and manage our resources to eliminate waste, promote recycling, reduce consumption, and ensure that products are reused whenever possible.
Yeah, so the name is a little bit threatening. It can be like hard to. I can't see it.
It can be a little bit harsh name,
Yeah.
zero waste. That sounds like a person who doesn't have any trash. That's not really possible in our current society. So the idea is more of to produce as little trash as you can and as little emissions as you can. So why is this important? Why should we aim to be somewhat like zero waste?
So yeah, being zero waste is very important, not only for the health of humans, but also animals and nature. For example, on the health thing, a lot of fabrics can be toxic, not only to babies or other people who are more easily affected by them, but us regular people as well.
So a lot of cheap fabrics that are used in fast fashion, for example, can have many toxic ingredients. In many, for example, acrylic fabrics, they can be too harsh on the skin and can cause different illnesses. For example, if there's a really cheap fabric on a baby's clothing, it might later on in that human's life who once used it as a baby cause some sort of harm for their immunity system against some sort of illness, and they can catch, for example, some sort of skin disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, and adopting a zero waste approach also drives systemic change. As more people move towards zero waste living, it sends a strong message to corporations and governments to prioritize sustainable practices, reduce packaging waste, and innovate in resource management.
It also gives people more sense of empathy because in many industries that are, for example, fast fashion again, which is probably the most pollution causing industry in the world right now. Many of the workers are being exploited majority of the time, so refusing to use fast fashion and otherwise very cheap labored products can give people a bigger sense of empathy and give them a better sense of emotional intelligence.
Yes, and as for our planet, I'm sure we've all, or most of us, have heard about how it's affecting the sea when there's a lot of plastic and other stuff in it, and the animals in the sea. But it's not only that, but also all the forests, and they're getting, as we make new things, they're getting cut down, and we kind of need those for oxygen, and as well as
But it's not just about saving the environment. Living zero waste can also be empowering on an individual level. It encourages mindfulness, being intentional about what we buy and what we waste. It's about recognizing our consumption habits and taking control over how we interact with the world.
Yes, so could we now tell you guys a little bit about what kind of initiatives we have taken in Finland towards this zero waste kind of lifestyle?
Yeah, of course. I think the biggest thing we have in Finland that many other places do not have is the bottle recycling machines. So here in Finland, when we recycle bottles, we can get a little bit of money from it. It's like from 15 cents to 40 cents. And this gives people motivation to recycle things. 93% of our plastic bottles are recycled.
Also, a lot of our apartments in Finland, recycling bins there are mandatory. So you can get, like, if you don't recycle in that apartment, you can get like,
You can get a fine for it.
yes. And there's like for metal, for food waste, for paper, there's a huge majority of the different categories in the recycling bins.
And let's talk about the Finland Circular Economy Roadmap. The Finnish Innovation Fund Sitra has been actively working on making Finland a forerunner in circular economy by 2025. The idea behind a circular economy is that everything is reused or repurposed, which fits perfectly with zero waste principles. By promoting circularity, Finland is making sure that fewer materials become waste and more of them remain in productive loop.
So in Finland, this sort of buying habits are getting more managed right now, and with different apps like Lineupi, where people are like putting different kind of clothing or different kind of items on display on that app, and then different people can borrow that item from that app. For example, someone wants to borrow certain kind of hat for a week if they're going, for example, to a forest where they need that hat, and then they're gonna just give it back to the owner, so they don't have to buy a hat for only just a week.
Yeah, as well as we have similar things. Well, not exactly similar, but things where we can buy food that would otherwise be thrown out. For example, from restaurants or from shops, we have different apps that sell things that are no longer in the stores or are going bad, as they would say.
They are more of like past their prime quality, but still usually when they go, at least in Finland, when food goes past its prime quality, the food can still be eaten for a week after.
Yeah.
And then probably one of the most popular things in Finland to do is to buy secondhand clothing, and especially on social media, in a platform like Facebook. Secondhand stores are really popular in Finland.
Yeah, and of course, Finland isn't perfect. So, what are some things that we could improve on?
I still think that we should improve on, for example, clothing buying. So necessarily we do, flea markets in Finland are very popular, but also we have to understand that the idea of flea markets also in the end isn't fully like circular economy like. So a lot of fast fashion can be seen in flea markets as well. For example, in a certain timeline, you can definitely see which items there are part of some sort of 15-minute trend.
Yes, and a lot of people still buy things that they wouldn't necessarily need from secondhand stores just because they're cheap. So that could be something we could improve on.
Yes, so there's still sort of like this shopping mania that people can have, but when they buy the trendy or nice things from flea markets, they sort of get this feeling that, oh, this isn't so bad because this is used. But the thing is that even though it's from flea market, the thing can be like previously used only for a few months. That isn't very much, when usually the amount of time the item or clothing should have been used would be at least few years,
Yeah.
hopefully.
So every small action counts and contributes to a larger change. But thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with friends, and leave us a review. Let's continue learning, growing, and reducing waste together.
Bye.
Bye bye.